Dear friends, English literature, romantic poetry, selected poems of John Keats, Ode on a Grecian Urn, brief questions with answers. Brief questions 1 to 49. Question 1. What is the central theme of Ode on a Grecian Urn? Answer. The contrast between life and art is the central theme of the Ode on Grecian Urn. Question 2. What is an urn? Answer. An urn is a tall, vase-like container made for pottery or stone and used for holding the ashes of a dead person. Question 3. What is the Grecian urn referred to in Ode on a Grecian Urn? And so the Grecian urn is the relic of antiquity and a chronicler of ancient Greek pastoral life. Question 4. What is inspired Keats to write Ode on a Grecian Urn? And so Keats was inspired to write the ode partly by a marble urn belonged to Lord Holland, but mostly by a collection of Greek sculpture which Keats saw in the British Museum. Question 5. How does Keats address the Grecian urn? Answer. Keats addresses the Grecian urn as unravished bride of quietness, foster child of silence and slow time, and as Sylvian historian. Question 6. How is the urn unravished bride? Answer. The urn is wedded to the spirit of quietness. It remains unaffected by the ravages of time, so it is called the unravished bride. Question 7. Thou still unravished bride of quietness. What does the line signify? Answer. The line signifies the purity, modesty, and chastity of urn. Question 8. What has the urn been called? Why has the urn been called the foster child of silence and slow time? Answer. As the urn's maker, its parent, is dead, it has been cared for by time and silence. That's why the urn has been called the foster or adopted child of silence and slow time. Question 9. Why does Keats call the urn a Sylvian historian? Answer. The urn is called a Sylvian historian because it is a chronicler of ancient Greek pastoral or Sylvian life and describes a series of events through the pictures carved on it. Question 10. What is meant by the line, a flowery tale more sweetly than our rhyme? Answer. The pictures on the surface of the urn depict the pastoral tales of Greece in a better way than is even possible in poetry. Here, sculpture is regarded as superior to poetry. Question 11. What is Tempe? Answer. Tempe is a beautiful valley in Thessaly on the eastern coast of northern Greece. It is associated with the joyous pastoral life in Greek poetry. Question 12. What is Arcady? Answer. Arcady is a mountainous country in the center of Greece. It is also called the Switzerland of Greece and is very famous in pastoral poetry. Question 13. What are the pictures carved on the sides of the urn? And so the pictures on the surface of the urn depict the pastoral tales of Greece. There are pictures of procession leading a heifer, the lovers pursuing their beloveds, and piper piping his pipe. Question 12. Question 14. What is meant by what struggle to escape? And so it means that the maidens are trying to escape the advances of their lovers. Question 15. What is meant by hard melodies are sweet, but those unheard are sweeter? And so it means that the music that is listened to by the spirit is sweeter than the music heard by the physical ears. Question 16. Hard melodies are sweet, but those unheard are sweeter. In which ode do you find this line? And so this line is found in Ode on Grecian Urn, written by John Keats. Question 17. What is the music unheard sweeter? Why is the music unheard sweeter than the music heard? And so the music heard only through imagination is sweeter than the music heard by bodily ears because it appeals directly to the soul. Question 18. Hard melodies are sweet, but those unheard are sweeter. Identify the figures of speech. Answer. It is antithesis, epigram. Question 19. Why does kids ask the musicians carved on the iron to continue their music? And so kids asks the musicians, pipers, carved on the iron to continue their music because their music, which is heard only through imagination, is sweeter than the music heard by physical ears. Question 20. What was the fairy portrait on the iron doing? And so the fairy portrait on the iron was singing a song under the trees in the forest. Question 21. What is the condition of the chariot? Answer. As the chariot carved on the iron is in a state of singing a song, his song can never come to an end. He will sing forever. Question 22. What is the condition of the sculptured trees? Answer. As the trees are sculptured, they can never shed their trees. Question 23. How is the bold lover seen on the iron? And so the bold lovers pictured on the iron is seen trying to kiss his beloved. Question 24. Why does the bold lover fail to kiss his beloved? Answer. Though the lover is bold, he is only a picture. A picture is incapable of doing any action. It always in a state in which it is carved. So the bold lover cannot kiss his beloved. Question 25. How does the poet console the bold lover? And so the poet consoles the bold lover with the thought that though he cannot kiss his beloved, she will always remain fair and he will always love her. Question 26. What figure of speech is in silence and slow time? And so silence and slow time, in which two nouns are connected by and to convey meaning which can be obtained by converting one of that nouns into an adjective. Here the phrase silence and slow can be converted into long silence. Question 27. Oh, happy, happy boughs. Why are the trees happy? And so the trees carved on the iron are happy because they never shed their leaves, and so they are able to enjoy an everlasting spring. Question 28. Oh, happy, happy boughs. Identify the figure of speech used in this phrase. And so it is an instance of parallelogy in which a word or phrase is repeated for the sake of emphasis. Question 29. Why will the piping of the piper melodist be ever new and fresh? And so the piping of the piper will never cause satiety, as it will be enjoyed by imagination, not by the physical ear. So the piping will be ever fresh and new. Question 30. Why is the lover more happy than the musician? And so the lover is more happy than the melodist because the lover is always in a mood of fulfilling his desire of kissing his beloved. Expectancy is more delightful than satiety. This expectancy will always be a source of joy for him. Question 31. Why will lover depicted on the iron be forever panting? And so the lover depicted on the iron will be panting forever because of his excitement of love, his mad pursuit of his unwilling beloved. Question 31. What is meant by the line, all breathing human passion forever? And so by the line, it is meant that the love of the sculptured youth is far superior to earthly love. Question 33. Why is the sculptured love superior to earthly love? Answer. Earthly love generally results in a sorrow and weariness after the fruition of love. But the sculptured love is never gratified. It doesn't know satiety. So the sculptured love is superior to earthly love. Question 34. How is the sacrificial scene painted on the iron? And so a number of people headed by a priest are going to make a sacrifice on some green altar. Question 35. Who headed the sacrificial procession? And so a priest headed the sacrificial procession. Question 36. What will they sacrifice? And so they will sacrifice a calf, heifer. Question 37. How is the heifer to be sacrificed decorated? And so the soft sides of the heifer to be sacrificed are decorated with garlands of flowers. Question 38. From where have people come to sacrifice a calf? And so to sacrifice a calf, people have come from a town situated close to a river or on a seashore or at the foot of a hill on the top of which there stands a fortress. Question 39. Why is the priest called mysterious? Answer: the priest is called mysterious because nothing is known of his identity of religion. Question 40. Why is the heifer lowing at the skies? Answer: it is a very natural posture for the victim to be slaughtered to low at the skies. Here, the victim is uttering cries as if appealing to God for help. Question 41. Why is the town desolate or empty? Answer: the town is empty because it is holy morning and the people have left to offer a sacrifice at some distant altar. Question 42. What figure of speech in this pious morn? Answer: hypology or transferred epithet. Here the adjective pious, which belongs to the sacrificial ceremony, is attributed to the morning. Question 43. What figure of speech is used in not a soul to tell? Answer: synecdoche. Here a part soul is used to mean the whole a man. Question 44. Why does Keats address the urn as etic shape? Answer: etic means Athenian, here belonging to Greece. As the urn belongs to Greece, Keats addresses it as etic shape. Question 45. Why is the urn called cold pastoral? Answer: the urn is cold because it does not have the warmth of life as it is made of marble. It is pastoral because rural scenes are depicted on it. Question 46. How does the urn serve the humanity like a friend? Answer: the urn serves the humanity like a friend, conveying to them the great lesson that beauty is truth, truth beauty. Question 47. What is the message of the urn to humanity? Answer: the message of the urn to humanity is that beauty and truth are identical. Question 48. What do you mean by beauty is truth, truth beauty? Answer: beauty and truth are identical. They are the same thing. What the imagination sees as beauty must be truth. Question 49. Identify the figure in the line beauty is truth, truth beauty. The figure used in this line is chiasmus, in which a contrast between ideas is expressed through the inversion of the order of words or phrases when they are repeated or subsequently referred to in a sentence. Thank you friends for watching my video.